I'm Kevin Craven.
I'm Brandon Alexander, and this is Vibeable,
where we invite you to tune in and catch a vibe. Brandon, what is up, man?
Yo, Kev, lots is up. It's been a wonderful weekend. Very productive.
Good.
My brain feels creatively charged. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you, bud?
I'm good, man. Like I am, I'm really hopeful about a lot of things, in my life, and that just feels good. That feels good. Yeah. I'm hopeful, and again, it's just a great feeling to have, because like sometimes hope is a lot is all that a lot of us have, and if you don't have that, then it's like, well, damn.
Yeah. There's this friend of mine who's like struggling to, I guess she's doing her best to elevate herself and perhaps exist at a higher resonation,
Mm-hmm.
And it's a technique that you helped me with, or that you exposed me to, about just giving daily things that you're grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
and like having a person that you can send these positive affirmations to.
Yeah.
And she's agreeable to do that, and we did the first one between her and I this morning, and I hadn't done that in a while. I mean, I express gratitude and I'm grateful for just throughout moments of the day, but to actively set aside time to specifically do that felt really nice, and to give thanks that my hands and my feet that can sometimes be problematic are feeling great, and they're not swollen or fully functional, and that my brain is clear, and that I'm able to afford going out and seeing a movie or getting coffee in the morning, like just these small things that I don't want to ever take for granted. So
yeah,
had a cool moment of gratitude and started the day off right.
Good. I read this list not too long ago of the benefits of expressing gratitude, and they're not coming to me right now, but I wanted to bring that up because it's just so beneficial to be thankful and to express this gratitude, and to physically say it, to say these things that you're thankful for. I'm thankful. I don't care what nobody say, you're not going to play in my face. I am thankful for Hot Pockets. I know there is a stigma associated with Hot Pockets. I ate Hot Pockets for dinner last night because I did not feel like cooking, girl. I was tired, and I made some meatball mozzarella Hot Pockets, and I don't care. They were great. I loved them. They were delicious.
I can confirm. We were, in fact, on the phone when this happened, and just the level of joy in your voice when that timer went ding and they were ready.
So much
oh
gratitude.
My gosh.
I don't care what anybody says. I eat Hot Pockets.
Yes.
And that's it. And okay, so you ordered Chipotle last night. How was your Chipotle?
Kev, okay. So first of all,
It's
Chipotle, if you're listening, I need to center myself here, because there's a lot of moving parts for a Chipotle restaurant. I don't want to be that person. You know how it is in the what is it called, the customer service industry.
Mm-hmm.
So many people that are like, I know it's not you, and then they proceed to just rip your asshole open with their fucking complaints.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be that person. I understand that the people on the ground floor here are maybe not to blame, but this is the issue, Kev. So you and I, we're fans of Chipotle. When it's good, it's great. Mm-hmm. It hits the spot, right? This particular Chipotle, I've not been to it in person, but this one in particular delivers to my house, right?
Yeah.
And it's a hit or miss relationship here. That's the fact. That's how it is. And to my own fault, I go back time after time, because when it's good, it's great, like I said. But when they miss it, I mean, the last couple times, I know this is not the question that you asked me, but this backstory I think could help here.
Okay.
So the things that they miss can be pretty big, right? In that I ordered it the other day, and they gave me a burrito bowl with none of the protein. It was just rice and tomato and cheese and cream cheese. That was it.
Disrespectful.
And the awful thing was, disrespectful indeed, but it was without the protein, one of the best burrito bowls I've ever had. It was just, the seasoning was on point. And I'm like, I can't even call it in because it really did taste really good. It really did.
You're so
but nonetheless,
kind.
they forgot my steak. You know what I'm saying? And then last night, I ordered the same thing. I just want that same burrito bowl, nothing too complicated, and chips. Not with the guac, because the guac is too often hit or miss, and I'm kind of picky about my guac anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with just the chips. And the guy comes, he had trouble finding my apartment. No big deal. I'm happy to walk out and make your life easier. I'll meet you outside. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed the bag, and the conversation was dominated by, my gosh, this complex is hard to get around. But I knew it, Kev. I knew it in my gut. That bag felt light. It just felt light. And I grabbed it anyway. And I'm like, and instead I continue on, you need help getting out of here, man? You just make a right and blah, blah, blah. And I open it up. When I get into my apartment, no chips. They forgot the chips. And it's on the receipt that they were so nice to staple to my bag. Chips. It's on there. I paid for them.
Man, you need to get a Chipotle credit. You have like a Chipotle curse. Like, there was also the other recent story where you ordered Chipotle and it was on the way and it never came because the guy's car broke down.
And they never came. It never came. It was, you could watch it on the map. It was heading to my apartment. And then order canceled. I'm like, well, what's this about? And apparently he had car trouble. He or she had car trouble. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's something
Just
about this Chipotle.
What a tease, what a tease.
Like,
yeah.
And this driver doesn't even work at the Chipotle, but it's like whoever or whatever is associated with this Chipotle is like a curse of some sort. Like, this poor man's car is broken down.
Yo, and like we mentioned last night when we were talking about it, I hope that they were hungry and that they needed a meal.
Yeah.
And that in the midst of their car being stranded, they got to munch on something delicious. I hope that was the case.
I hope that was the case too, because it wasn't his fault that he was called to go and pick up from this Chipotle, and now his car is cursed.
From the cursed Chipotle. Right.
Yeah.
He went unknowing into this awful scenario. You're right.
Terrible. It's not his fault, and I agree with you. I hope that he was able to make a meal out of that Chipotle, that he was hungry, that he wasn't vegan, that he could eat everything that was in that bag.
That's right.
Oh, man. That goddamn Chipotle. Okay, so last night, for the first time, first of all, when I went to see Nope on Friday, I saw the poster for Wakanda Forever, and I was like, oh, there's a poster, but is there a preview? And I learned last night that there is a preview, and I watched the preview for Wakanda Forever that is due in theaters this November, I believe, and I just want to say that there are parts of me that are excited. But overall, I'm not excited the way I was about Black Panther back in 2018. Obviously, for the reason of Chadwick Boseman no longer being with us and he will not be Black Panther. Yeah. At the end of the preview of this new Wakanda Forever movie, you see that there will be a Black Panther in it. But who is playing Black Panther? Who is gonna be Black Panther?
It seemed that. I'm hoping that it's that it was a feminine costume that I was seeing. It seemed perhaps like it could have been. I think it's purposely ambiguous from like an editing standpoint in Marvel. So I do hope that, because they do seem to be playing more and focused more on the female characters from the original Black Panther, rather than attempting to replace Chadwick. And there was that shout out. You saw that mural of Chadwick in the film, which I thought was beautiful and touching.
And see, that's a reason. Like, I remember that mural, and that's a reason where I'm just like, I don't know that it's safe for me to go and see this in theaters, because you were literally there with me at my uncle's place when Chadwick, when I found out he died, and I like wept. for like an
Yes.
hour at least. And I
Yes.
don't want to be sitting in nobody's movie theaters, ugly crying. Like, it's just, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's experience, but it's just something really special about Chadwick. Like, even before he did Black Panther, he was my favorite actor. And I was introduced to him in the movie 42, where he played Jackie Robinson, and then he played James Brown in Get On
Yes.
Up, and he was just so special. And the fact that he's missing from this franchise that he was a part of, this Black Panther broke records, and he played a big part in that. He was the first black superhero for so many black little boys, and he's not here anymore. Some could make the statement that Black Panther died, and that just breaks my heart. It really just breaks my heart. And just seeing images of Chadwick, and then there's going to be some beautiful music associated in this scene in the new movie. I'm not going to be any good to just sit there and not ugly cry. I don't know.
So, and that's your prerogative, and of course, you want to be comfortable when you're being entertained or taking in a film. But I think cinema and film as a medium, that's what it does so well. And if you are in a place when it does come out and you're comfortable enough to be in that place and to be around people, I think it's okay to go to that place and cry and mourn, because I think film in those moments, especially with music, especially when it's done well and respectful, can kind of move us toward a better place and help us mourn the feelings that we have, and so you certainly did take time because you were so affected by his passing, but not to say that that's not totally resolved. And so, maybe look at it as an opportunity to, further move towards some closure,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, certain movies and certain scenes like that are made to kind of bring out those emotions. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, and I feel like I know that. So you're on the fence for other reasons as far as Wakanda Forever, but I did the quick research, and it's the same director. It's the same. I think he wrote and directed Black Panther. I think he's written and directed Wakanda Forever. I don't know if he wrote it. I can't recall. But certainly the same director. So you'd hope that it's the same team that we trusted and brought us such a great film as Black Panther.
Yeah.
And he was a producer on the other film with Kaluuya that was.
You're talking about Judas and the Black Messiah, right?
Thank you, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Huey
Thank you.
Newton,
Yes.
Huey Newton was a part of the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there was like some negative things associated with this new Wakanda movie. For example, Ryan Coogler had like an incident recently where he went to the bank and he was discriminated against. The actress Letitia Wright, who played King T'Challa's little sister in the first Black Panther movie, she wasn't even going to be a part of this one because she refused to get a vaccination. It was just a whole bunch of shit associated with the making of this movie, and so I'm just like, I don't know, man. I do think the preview looks good. I love me some Lupita Nyong'o. I love Angela Bassett, and I'm excited to see them. I don't know if Daniel Kaluuya is in it though. He was in the first one.
He didn't. I don't think he made an appearance in the trailer anyway.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Oh man, he's probably just like busy, man. I know he's doing a lot. Yeah, his name is not showing up under the cast. Wow, that's crazy. That's surprising that he has not returned for it. But we do get Michaela Cole in this one. Not sure if you're familiar with Michaela Cole, but she's incredible, and she won an Emmy last year for her show on HBO called I May Have to Destroy You. And that was such a huge deal because she wrote it and she pitched it to Netflix, and Netflix was not trying to give her any. They were giving her a hard time. She was not good. She was trying to like have some sort of ownership if they were to air it on Netflix. And so she took it to HBO and they aired it, and I guess they worked out a deal. And yeah, she won an Emmy for it, but she'll be in it. So yeah, I'm so curious. I'm so curious to know who's gonna be Black Panther. I guess we will find out in November.
Yeah.
Something we found out recently that we don't have to wait any longer for is what the hell was Nope about by Jordan Peele? Vibe of the day, Nope.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
And you just now saw it this morning.
Yes, 10 a.m. showing in RPX sound format, which there was a noticeable punch. I think you had looked it up yesterday and said it was like it's effectively Dolby 7.1 versus IMAX, which is slightly higher than that, but it was noticeably impressive, and rightfully so. Jordan Peele is so good at sound design is so important in a Jordan Peele film. And I think perhaps not more so than in Nope compared to Us and Get Out. So I'm happy that I chose that format to see it in. But yes, I did catch it this morning.
Good. Yeah, you're definitely more meticulous and more like you have a more trained ear when it comes to sound overall. So I'm glad you appreciated that. So I saw Nope. For our listeners, I saw it this past Friday. Today is Sunday. I saw it Friday morning at 11 a.m. and I was very excited. I was not trying to be caught up in that Friday night crowd because that was the opening night, even though in some major cities it did come out Thursday.
Okay.
But I saw it that morning and man, wow. Okay, so before we get into it, let's do these parallels. Let's make the parallels between Get Out, Us, and Nope.
Okay, so let's start with some obvious ones. That he continues the trend of having black actors in his leads, and that helps to drive powerful, relevant narratives to a group of people that Hollywood, pretty much before Peele, and there are some other outliers, have previously ignored. So I appreciate that through line so far through all his films.
Okay.
Any plot similarities that come to mind?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's exploitation. The first one, the first Jordan Peele film, Get Out, was the exploitation of black people in America. And it was pretty much, as we've all seen Get Out, it was just using the bodies of black people. And it was just using their bodies and transferring the spirits of white people into these healthy black bodies. And then Us, it was the exploitation of class and class structure and poor people. And then Nope, it was animal exploitation, which I thought was I fucking love how he just incorporated the exploitation of animals in the way he did it.
Yes.
And so what other parallels did you pick up on? Or was that it?
Well, I think and I don't know if it's cheating or selling out, but I think he continues to make films that are in the horror genre that continue to defy horror tropes. We had recently talked about Hereditary as a horror film that we both quite enjoyed.
Yes.
And we had talked about why that was successful, and the let's say the first half of that film is character based, so that by the time these supernatural things come around, you are invested and you really are scared for them and worried for them and all that kind of stuff. And Peele is such a master at that, where, I mean, and it's something that, again, Hollywood tends to neglect in black characters in general, in that if there's a black character, their blackness is directly tied into their character, and it's something that they have to overcome, or it's just referenced and black actors and actresses have to play roles that are tied to their blackness rather than just playing a character who happens to be black.
Yeah, like white people do all the time.
All the time. And so I feel like these things continue the trend of his films being so impactful in that sense. So he's not relying on these on the standard horror tropes, and the jump scares are so legit, and he doesn't broadcast them, and he doesn't use music to fool you into thinking this or that, or feeling this or that, or anticipating this or that. And the use of, for instance, his use of reflection in this film it's not like, and if you see a mirror in a horror movie, just like if someone has like a fridge door open, what's the thought that comes into your head?
That's when you close that fridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
The big bad or the evil is right. Or somebody. There's a jump scare waiting for you on the other side of that fridge.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that. In fact, he subverts it so much. The scene where Kaluuya's character is in the truck and he just opens the door to peek out to the sky, and it is like, nope, right? One of the many times that the refrain is brought up, and then Peele waits a good chunk of time, right? Like that's a comedic moment, some levity in this tense drama horror of a film, and then boom, the fucking jump scare through the windshield. You know, and he's so brilliant at his original use of injecting fear into his audience. I think that is there's plenty of examples. The example that comes to mind in Get Out is the groundskeeper running at camera in that weird, scary way that gives me goosebumps every time I think about it.
Yeah.
So what a unique image that any other horror film has never used. Yeah. It's always someone running away in a helpless manner, you know, and tripping and all this kind of stuff. That's original to Peele, that is as scary, or if not scarier, than most things that we've seen in horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, he did a great job. I agree with just defying a lot of stereotypical horror scenes and jump scares. He did a great job at that. Now, are you done with, like, do you have any more parallels?
No, I want to jump in.
Okay,
right now.
Before we before we get into the plot, let's talk. I want to talk about the characters. I want to talk about the characters first. Let's talk about Emerald, played by Keke Palmer. Let's talk about OJ. Let's talk about what's the guy's name? Angel. Let's even talk about I believe his name was
Ricky.
Oh yes, Ricky. Oh my God, Ricky, aka Jupe. And there is, what's his name?
Antlers. He was the cinematographer, editor character. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. How did you? And we can't forget the legendary Keith David, who played OJ.
Keith David as Otis. Oh my goodness,
incredible. An OG in the game. I do wish he was in it longer, but I feel like his
Me too.
He served his purpose. And even in knowing him in such a short amount of time in the movie, you still had sympathy for him. And yeah. So what do you think about? Let's start with OJ. Like, what do you think about Daniel Kaluuya, like, in playing OJ?
So what I love about Kaluuya as an actor is his ability to, he can speak to an audience in such a way where he has to do very, very little. And it's a look, it's a way he takes a breath. It's a way he'll squint in his eye, or what his brow will do, or just his posture. I love watching him walk in film. Like, it's weird, but like, watch it. It's a similar. I noticed it in Sicario.
Okay.
Just the way his character walks. It's always different in every film, but it lends, the way he walks and his posture changes from film to film, and it's such an effective character detail that I think that whether he's aware of it or not, I would assume that that's a conscious choice as an actor. So I enjoy how on such a subtle level he can portray and project so much meaning to the audience.
Yeah, it's definitely, everything he does is intentional. Keke Palmer was saying that before they started filming, they met up at a diner, and he has an accent, a British accent, right?
Yes, heavy accent.
Yeah,
yes.
and she was saying that he was already speaking in his American accent in preparation, and he's fully committed. And I loved. Oh my God! Like, I heard some bad reviews about his character, that he was just kind of in the cut in this role, but I feel like even in the cut, he played it so well. Like, as you said, he spoke with his eyes and he spoke with his actions, and it didn't require like a lot of volume or a lot of talking. Like, he conveyed this character with so many other parts other than him speaking. And I just thought he really nailed it.
So when you say in the cut, what is that even in reference to?
So when black people say in the cut, it means you just kind of low key. It means you kind of like in the background.
And yeah, I don't. I feel like it's naive to think that understated equals bad or basic or anything like that. Yeah, because I would say quite the opposite. For an actor to be restrained and to show restraint and to be understated, like that delivery of Nope, for instance, like that hits just how nonchalant he was about it. You know. So matter of fact, like I feel like that was the punchline. That's where the humor came from. Whereas easily another actor would have been like, nope, just something over the top and some far more, cartoonish.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would certainly disagree with that critique. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the horse's name? Was it Howard or no? It wasn't Howard.
There's Lucky, and then there was
Lucky was the main horse, right?
The main one.
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, even OJ's connection with Lucky, Kaluuya really just like, you felt their bond, and you felt that OJ, because of Kaluuya, had this connection with this horse, and I think even that deserves some credit. Like he had this connection with this horse, like he spoke for this horse. He was like, look, don't look him in the eyes, like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you felt that he cared for this horse, and I just thought, I thought that was beautiful. I felt the bond that he had with Lucky.
Yeah, and then I don't remember the name of the white horse, but there's the shot where what is it?
Ghost.
That's right, Ghost. There's a shot with him and Ghost. Ghost is about to jump out of the over the fence to run away. And it's like this wonderful medium shot of Ghost on the left and him on the right, and he's almost like just having a conversation with him.
Wow.
In a way, and it's not, but it's just in the look and how he was petting and just kind of being there for Ghost. Like, yeah, Kaluuya certainly, I mean, in any scene and whoever he's opposite has this connection, but there's this tenderness about him towards the animals that was such a great juxtaposition against the animal handlers and the industry and the exploitation, like you were saying, of the chimp on set and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I thought he did great, Kaluuya. Let's talk about Keke Palmer's character, Emerald.
She's her. So you and I had spoken about Keke Palmer at length for the first time when I saw her interview on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
And just how, and you say it all the time, or it's people say it all the time about, man, that person looks just so nice, and I bet they're so kind, but she just exudes positivity. She exudes goodness. She exudes just joy and happiness, and dear Lord, I loved her presence in this film.
Wow.
Like, even in her intense moments, you're just there for her. You're always rooting for her, and I couldn't get enough of Keke Palmer. I feel like I understand why these characters weren't in as much of the movie as they were, because there's so many other things that the story is addressing here. But both Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer, I was just so thirsty for their performances, and I was so happy and engaged every time they were on screen. I loved Keke's performance, especially just I think the scene where she's dancing to the vinyl that's in the trailer is just so lovely. Oh my goodness, it's one of my favorites.
First of all, this is my favorite Keke Palmer performance. I feel like this really pushed her, and I love that she played a lesbian, and that
and they didn't harp on that either. They just mentioned it one time, exactly once.
Yeah,
which was lovely.
And she played the part really well, I feel. And I feel like this really challenged her, and it took her, I would say, out of her comfort zone. I love that that her and OJ were yin and yang. They were so different character wise, and it's like in that case, you can't rely on your counterpart to kind of help you. It's on you. And I feel like Keke delivered. Like she delivered. She was the more outgoing character. She was the younger sister who was into different fields, and more into the influencing, whereas OJ was trying to carry his father's legacy. And Emerald, I just love that. Okay, I don't want to get to the end yet, but I love that she, in a lot of ways, played the hero, and she ate that shit up. And what I was saying to you last night, it was the opinion of this white guy. I was watching his review, and he said, Keke Palmer, for me, she was a little too much. And this is one of the reasons where, when it comes to Black art, I'm not interested in the opinions of white people, because white people don't always understand us. And if you don't understand something, I think you could sound ignorant to speak on something you don't understand or have a full grasp of, So like, Black women have always had this thing where it's like, oh, they're too loud or they have too much attitude, which is why a lot of Black men, have expressed their disdain towards Black women, and why they date white women or women outside of their race, because Black women are too much. They're not as meek, or they're not as submissive, and so they're just too much. And I'm like, look, Keke Palmer, you could say she was too much, but she was the right amount for me. She was the right amount, and I feel like she really delivered. And I think it's really ignorant. I think it's really ignorant to say that, to say, oh yeah, she was too much. And it's like, it's always associated with a Black woman. She's doing too much. It's always the Black woman that's doing too much. Why? Everyone else do a lot, do the most, and it's no problem. I feel like she nailed it. Yeah. All that to say.
And to add to your point, anyone who has a critique like that, like, you need to step back. So there has to be some level of reverence and respect for the artists that are putting forth the product that you're watching, the film, the painting, the whatever, the play, right? And I feel like if you have in the forefront of your mind when you're watching something the capability and the talent and the genius of Peele, and all the talent that he's included in his project, that anything that you don't get shouldn't come from a place of that's too much. It should come from a place of, I initially think that's too much. I trust Peele and Keke and Kaluuya and the choices that they're making. What justifies that reaction? And really just try to understand, try to realize that it is a perspective or something that perhaps you've not considered yet, rather than this actress that's being too much or going over the top.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Let's dig a little deeper and figure out why we feel that way.
Yeah.
And last thing about Keke before we move on, I like, again, she played the character, the more outspoken one, and it's even like, it's the little subtle moments, like even her first scene where they were at the studio and they had Lucky, it was just OJ and Lucky, and OJ was just kind of bombing on, explaining to the people what Lucky needed and what you shouldn't do, and she just came in there and just like ate that shit up. Like she explained everything. She spoke about Hayward. Was it Haywood, and the family business and what they do, what not to do.
Yes.
Don't do this. Turn your phones off. And she just came in and she just took over. And I just loved that so much. It was something about that moment that I was like, I loved it. So let's move. I want to move on to Ricky. Let's talk about Ricky, aka Jupe.
Jupe, that's right.
Yeah, let's okay, you go first.
Well, so there's something specific that he says within the film that I have under the observations of this. So I guess I can bring up this point because it is specific to him. And it is the 613 bit. I don't know if you caught this. But in explaining the incident, right, that happened on set, he says that it was 6 minutes and 13 seconds of chaos, or however he described it. But that was the duration of the event on set with the chimp.
Totally went over my head.
Right. And then when he is in front of his audience and he's putting on the show with the mic headset, he says that at 6:13 is the time of day that he saw this UFO. Mm-hmm. And so, and I couldn't remember the Bible verse that's cited in the beginning, but I wonder if it was verse 6:13. I don't remember. That might be a through line there, but that also might not be true about the Bible verse in the beginning of the film.
No, but it was Nahum 3:6.
Okay, all right.
But that's a good. I feel you.
Yeah, and so I guess in a sense, his character is exploiting the tragedy that happened on set, right? There's a lot to unpack because in that secret room of his with all the paraphernalia and objects from set, there's that shoe.
Yes.
That was it
standing shoe
through magic or why was that shoe standing as it was? What significance is it that he had it? Perhaps it's meant to invoke the shoe is on the other foot, in that the white actors that are in that scene are the ones that the chimp takes its aggression on and viciously murders.
Wow.
Very much like what is white history and of course what is black history in this country.
Oh my God.
So that's kind of like a role reversal in a way.
Wow.
But yeah, so this character of Jupe for me highlights these things. Of course, this is still, I feel like these concepts are like in the ethers. I'm like reaching, I'm trying to figure out meaning and am I overstepping, or was this Peele's intention or not? But yeah, for me, these things that revolve around Ricky come up.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's very interesting. The shoe on the other foot, I really dig that. And the massacre that took place, and it was only white people who were massacred on set.
Yes.
That was really interesting. So
and
go ahead.
And just one last thing. So then you have the only person of non-white descent on that set was his younger self. Mm-hmm. And that's the only person that we see the chimp spare. And there's also this moment of appropriation, so like fist bumping, right? And it being the thing, so that it's a moment where they fist bump, but it's meant to be, it's fearful, right? And in fact, his hand is the chimp's hand is dripping with blood, and he goes in for the fist bump, and then of course the chimp gets blown to hell and shot.
Yeah.
And so that I'm fairly certain that is a commentary on appropriation of just culture in general.
Wow, that's interesting. Wow. Okay, I like it. I like your take, and I dig it.
All right.
So I really I like the actor. I really like him a lot. I first saw him in, I believe, The Twilight Zone, Jordan Peele's rendition of The Twilight Zone.
Oh,
And so I
okay,
was glad to
cool.
see that they were working together again. So I just, I don't know, like, I feel like he played the part. You know, he played the part of this former child actor. He started out in the kid sheriff movie where he didn't have a big part, but that opened the door for him to star in Gordy's Home. And so he used that fame and he
Yes.
took that fame and he ran with it. And then he didn't get like a lot of work after that. He didn't like blow up, but he used it to open this ranch, like this like sort of amusement park. And he had, I feel, enough fame and enough money to kind of make this happen. And he played on that. um you know he, I sympathize with this character early on as a kid, obviously, because he's watching all of this shit take place and these people
Mm.
be, massacred. But then it's like later on with the exploitation, which I guess we'll get to later,
Hmm.
it's like, do I like this character? I don't know. I love
Right.
the
Right.
acting. Again, I feel like he played his part, and I feel like he
Yes.
nailed that shit. Let's talk about Angel, who I fell in love with.
Oh,
I did.
my namesake, Brendan Perria, seems like. Yeah.
Oh
Uh
my
huh.
God. I just could not, like, I was like, who is he? Where did he come from? He is just delicious. Oh my God.
And he was what an unexpected sidekick in a horror film. He was just so lovely. What a great surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me about Angel. Your take on.
Okay, so I have some things pertaining to him in my observations. And I'm curious if you'd caught this one because you're the one who catches this in your own life, and you've told me about it. But I don't know if you noticed. So him on the back of his technician van was the letters or the numbers FE1111.
Oh, 1111.
It was printed on the back of the
I
van.
missed that.
And isn't that like an angel number,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you've told me?
Pretty popular one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then him being called Angel. So I feel like that was
Oh
certainly
my
on the nose. I
God.
think that was certainly on purpose.
Wow.
And then the only other time the number comes up, he's also in the scene. It's when the three of them are in the diner. And there's a group of like white jerseys that are either fighting or like play fighting outside the diner. And the number 11 jersey was the one that was framed front and center. So there's at least two, and you see that FE1111 several times, but in any event, it's another scene where the number 11 is seen that could be associated with the character Angel.
Wow. That's great that you caught that. Oh man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my God. I loved Angel. And as you said, he was a great, just like unexpected sidekick at like this Fry's, what's it called? Kind of like this Best Buy type
Yes.
of department store.
Yes.
And he was like a Best Buy genius, and he just,
Right.
yeah, like even though they told him, hey, no, you don't be watching our camera, like he did it anyway. And it's kind of great that he did,
Yeah.
because he kind of, he came and, helped them out and helped them, catch this thing or catch it on camera, I guess, or
Right.
help them to figure out what was going on, like with the cloud and everything, and how the cloud, that was the only cloud that wasn't moving, and they later found out that was the UFO. Yeah, I've really liked his character. I like, even aside from him being beautiful, I just loved him as their sidekick. And I guess the last main character is the cinematographer.
Yes.
Yeah,
The man with the voice. Oh.
yeah, he's been in the
Dear
industry for
Lord.
years, and he did some earlier movies that he's pretty popular for.
Yeah.
Yeah, me personally, he was fine. It was kind of giving like a white savior type of, energy for me.
So okay, well, no, I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I appreciate him. I love that Emerald reached out to him. I was so tickled by their conversation, and I enjoyed him. I do feel like towards the end, it was kind of like a white savior complex situation. Because they needed this white man. And listen, I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just saying it's what I noticed. It's what it was giving. And yeah, they called him up, and he came and he helped them get this thing on camera. Whether or not, after being sucked up, the footage that he captured was still useful, I don't know. But yeah, I thought his character was fine.
So okay, so I think that there is deliberate commentary on the white savior complex that exists in Hollywood that we see time and time again. We've talked about this many times. So I think okay, that's interesting. So I had not linked it to the white savior complex, but I did note the very kind of biblical flowy garb costume that he was in, even from the beginning when he was on set, and he was like, it's like a robe, this flowing black robe, right?
I loved it.
And it's just like, it's so deliberately like over the top, right? And then he even once they're enacting the final plan, right? He has the black hood, and like he ups the costume game with this like dramatic hood that he's wearing, right? And so from a cinematic, symbolic point of view, he can be representing death in a way. He could be representing a person of privilege, especially when they're reaching out and he's like not sold on the idea initially, where people that are not privileged that need to reach out and depend on these people in privilege. That scene over the phone anyway was a demonstration of this power struggle. But once he does agree, and of note, like what he's editing, anytime you see him editing, it's always this perhaps a reference in the balance that Peele is trying to comment on. It was the snake strangling the tiger, and then it was, I think, there's like another example of like animal versus animal. Which I think in the bigger context is in reference to the flying saucer, not a flying saucer, the predator in the sky.
Yes.
And then as far as the white savior, he fails the people that he would in any other film save, right? Like he is filming with his non-electric film camera, but he doesn't get the shot. And he lets them down, right? He has to reload in just a perfectly unopportune time to have been the white savior, right, in that situation.
Right.
And then, like you said, he gets that other camera and gets the shot, but then gets eaten. And I don't think that footage is usable. I think the only proof that they have is the pictures that Kiki gets at the end.
The white savior part comes in with having to call this guy, having to call him to get his help,
but he ends up not being able to deliver it in the end at all.
Right. Yeah. They still needed him. they still felt like they needed him, and they called him, and but like, again, like it's just something I noticed, and it doesn't take away from my experience of the movie in any way.
Cool. And then the last part that deals with Antlers and this character is I wonder if Peele, I don't know enough of his preference as far as, does he like to shoot on film? Does he prefer shooting digital? Does he care? And I wonder if just the dependability of digital or the independability of digital in this circumstance where electronics get wiped versus film was something that Peele was also addressing, because you have people like Tarantino and Scorsese. Really, they are one of the few directors that exist that are putting out truly original content anytime they release a film. And they kind of drive and are one of the few directors that exclusively shoot on film. And I wonder if Peele is kind of addressing that kind of, industry debate, whether film versus digital.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So, okay, let's talk about the plot of the movie. Because a lot of people have compared this to Jaws. And, maybe there's something in the water. You're kind of waiting for this thing to return. You're using bait. And there were a lot of other like Jaws comparisons. I'm not like the biggest like Jaws expert, but there were comparisons that people made, like more comparisons that people made with Jaws. But what did you think about the plot? Like, I'm curious to hear your overall thought. And I guess when I say the plot, you can just speak on anything like overall, like the movie overall.
So it's funny that you mentioned Jaws, because in the part of the previews that I saw this morning is they are re-releasing Jaws in like real 3D. And so you effectively saw this like updated trailer for Jaws, the original. And so it was fresh in my mind, right? I had been exposed to this film and then watched Nope, and I did not make any parallels to Jaws. So I think that's interesting that there's a bunch of people that are making these comparisons. And okay, now that you're pointing it out, yeah, I could see similarities there, but I wouldn't. That's not where my mind went at all.
Okay.
As far as the plot, what Peele does really well, amongst all the other things that we've spoken on to this point, is the incorporation of the title of the film that you're watching within the story. And the first time you hear Nope is on the film set when Kiki is talking about the black jockey in the first moving picture. And she's like, have you heard of him? And she's like, nope. and I felt like that the first, and nope, right, is a refrain or something that is repeated throughout the film. But that being the first time we hear it, I think was impactful because within the context of that scene, that is like, there's so much of Black history and Black related topics and the rest that anyone who's not Black has not heard of. And there's this thing of there's like not an effort, or there's not this drive to be knowledgeable of either Black artists or Black filmmakers or anything like that. And so I thought that the initial incorporation of the title was impactful in that way.
Nice.
So moving on. So I felt it was also I feel Peele set the tone for how Black actors and creatives in the industry are treated by the system, by Hollywood, and that every single person who spoke to either Daniel or Kiki's character was either backhanded or demeaning or like sarcastic. And then you saw the actress, was shocked and commented on the fact that his name is OJ.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And I even noticed on the trailer, and it was strange. It's written. I don't know if you saw it. Circle J on the horse trailer that they tow behind their truck. And at first, I'm like, "Oh, is that like a circle jerk reference?" I don't know. Like, that's where my mind first went. But no, it is a non-offensive way of writing OJ, Circle J, that the family felt the need to alter his name in order to appease the other people so that they wouldn't be offended by seeing OJ on their trailer.
Right.
So anyway, I really liked how Peele works in. There was certainly, I feel, commentary on the LGBT movement that's happened in the last couple of years, and the rainbow flag and parachute being the deterrent for the predator and kind of saving the day.
That's so interesting.
And Kaluuya has a line. He has a line of like something to the effect of, "I haven't been fucked with by a flag like that in a while," something like that. When he's realizing that it's like it upset the creature's stomach, and it saved him in that way, and we later find out he in that moment has this plan to have the parachute as a distraction, and the like double, triple, quadruple entendre of referencing being fucked with a flag. So that could be the LGBT movement, that could be Black and Blue Lives Matter, and that could also, of course, be the Confederate flag. So I just love that reference of flags impacting his life in any way.
Yeah.
And in general, I think those were most of the notes I was able to kind of jot down. But overall, I think the things that we go to horror films for, the what we look for in a horror film, I feel like Jordan Peele achieves in such a unique way. Like that feeling of just of tension and anxiety from a horror film, which is usually because the scene is dark or because the demon is lurking, or you hear like some particular scary sound or something like this, or the music is. But in scenes where it's so original, where you see the people being sucked into the animal and then in the animal's stomach, like that entire scene was just so effective, and the sound was so visceral, and the fear, I think it was a woman that they were focused on, was just so real, was incredibly effective, and it was one of my favorite moments because it was just so jarring, and it was just something you've never seen that in a film ever before, never. And that's kind of a rarity. And then I'll take a breath after this. I loved his references. So you talked about people comparing it to Jaws. I thought there was more obvious nods to The Shining when the blood is running down the window of the house, and then eventually just and it just like drenches the house. And it's a nod to The Shining, but I also believe that image of the blood initially running down the window will become a Jordan Peele iconic image in itself. And so I just love how he's such a fan. He's such an obvious fan of the genre and of filmmaking in general, and just how he goes about in such a wonderful way with that. That doesn't detract. That didn't take me out of the world of the film, where he finds these ways to kind of give these nods of respect to these other, great horror films that came before.
Nice. Yeah, he definitely he knows how to make those small references, and he's a John Carpenter fan, and he knows his horror. I really enjoyed the plot. I mean, I'm a lot more easier to impress than you are, so I think it's needless to say that I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed these little loopholes, and a lot of people were criticizing the fact that the Gordy's home narrative didn't like tie into it, but it did tie into it. So you had Jupe as a kid who had this fame, and then he was traumatized, and he later opened up his like little amusement park situation thing, and Gordy the monkey, he was being exploited in Gordy's home on this show, and he fucking had it, and he said fuck y'all, and he fucked these people up, and you could say that Jupe didn't really learn his lesson, and this is where it ties in, that he didn't learn his lesson because he later had these horses that he was exploiting, and like, you didn't learn your lesson as a kid when you saw this monkey flip the fuck out and kill all these people, and now here you are exploiting these horses in order to, draw your crowds in, and you're drawing this creature in to draw your money. And I'm just like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of, I'm not going to say it was obvious how it tied in, but I felt like he did a great job.
No, but I think that was certainly an intentional connection in the film, for sure.
Yeah. So I love the concept of not looking at the creature in the eyes, because like it's said with a lot of animals, certain animals, not to look them in their eyes because they take it as like a threat or a form of aggression. And so I just thought it was great how OJ's character had this connection with Lucky and the other horses, and he knew like not to look Lucky in the eye, and he kind of made that relation with this UFO, with this creature, to not look directly at it. And that's the mistake that everyone was making. Even everyone at Jupe's, gathering at the park, they were all just looking at it, and that's how they got sucked in. I just really love the Gordy's home. I don't know. It was something about that whole thing, having this child star who had this thing with the monkey that flipped the fuck out. Like, I don't know. It was just something about it that I really liked. I like how I like the Oprah reference, how they were trying to get the Oprah shot.
Oh, yeah.
And she, Emerald, she was like, "You love Oprah," She was just, I fucking loved Kiki in this role. I loved her so much. Yeah, you spoke a little bit about how the creature in the sky like didn't like the statue, like they kind of tricked it, and that's kind of what pissed it off. And when it came to visit Jupe, it took everyone, because it's like, no, you tricked me, you gave me this horse. Yeah, I just thought it was intelligent. It was just really smart. You're always gonna be forced to think, and to think about, nothing is placed just for no reason. And you mentioned about other horror films, how there are throwaway characters, and Peele does a great job with giving you this connection with these characters. And I really do. I felt so connected with everyone, and I loved it. I really did. I love the ending. I loved with Kiki, how she, or I'll say Emerald, first of all, the fucking TMZ guy, how fucking hilarious was that? Like, you've gotta be kidding me. Like, you are broken apart.
For like, it's
still trying to get a picture.
Yo, to the end, my camera.
Right?
Yo.
Just hilarious. Like, oh my God. But I love.
And even his helmet, which is a mirror, which is like, I don't know, there's something there about like seeing your own reflection in perhaps the absurdity of social media, and just the extremes of things like TMZ and tabloids and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of something I felt like he was trying to pinpoint as well throughout the film. And again, like referring back to Emerald's character, I love that she was kind of the one who like saved the day. I mean, it was definitely a joint effort with the four like characters who were trying to get this thing on film, but ultimately it was her who went back to this park, and she learned of this camera in the well in the beginning of the movie, where the kids were there taking pictures. Yes. And she thought, oh, let me go and see if I could at least do this, because we don't know if the footage that the guy got is even like, we don't know if we have that. And she went and she got a couple pictures of it, and we don't know. Like, I saw one video that said Peele left it up to the viewer to decide if OJ survived or not, because at the end he didn't move, and he was under that sign. I forget what it said exactly, but it was something about out yonder or something like that. And so it's like he's dead and he is an illusion. But I also feel like he kind of left it up to the viewer to decide if he was alive or not, that he sacrificed himself for his sister, and she finally got her chance to tame Jean Jacket, which is what they named the creature, because, they had the horse named Jean Jacket, and she never got to tame it. I thought that was so cute. I thought that was really cute. I'm going to say that OJ died. Like, It just makes more sense.
Interesting.
That he sacrificed himself. Because where was he?
I didn't think, that never occurred to me. I thought that she successfully lured the creature on the bike, and that it was just Dusty, at the end of everything, and he was just kind of obfuscated by all the dust in the air. It had not. I didn't question at the end whether he was alive or not. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and again, I feel like Peele left that up to us, because again, where was OJ when all this was happening? I feel like there was like a moment where he was kind of like, I guess sacrificing himself to give her more time to get to this park and do what she needed to do and get this big balloon that had eyes that I guess fooled the creature into thinking that this is a person looking at me,
right?
And instead it just blew it the fuck up. And also there's the relation with the pop that pissed Gordy the monkey off, and then there was the pop at the end with this big ass balloon,
right. Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool little relation.
Yeah, and with regards to the ending, so there was two things that I noticed that I forget the exclamations that Emerald is yelling once she has the picture and once the creature has exploded. But in that scene, she is like covered in dust, and I wondered if, in the face of tragedy, in the face of adversity, what is the remnants of that is this kind of deposit, the leftovers of perhaps the white patriarchy. That because I felt like it was so evident that she was covered in this kind of white dust.
Wow.
That I wondered if that was suggesting that. And I also wondered, because at the very end, right, the white press show up.
Yeah.
And I wondered if the movie is commenting on the lengths that Black people and minorities have to go through before anyone or the mainstream media pay any attention.
Yes. Yeah. I got like a gist of that.
Yeah. Like it is in the guise of this horror film that is also sci-fi, this alien creature, like it's so over the top, but this is what people have to go through before anyone acknowledges a struggle or an event that happens to anyone who's not white in this country.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely picked that up at the end as well when the white reporters showed up at the end. There were complaints with people how they lost interest in the third act because this UFO that so many people fear then turns into a different shape, and it just looked ridiculous. Is what I heard. I don't.
Oh my gosh, yo! I was so happy with the direction that Peele went in that one, and the first glimpse you get of it is in that moment where OJ unleashes the satchel and the rainbow flag comes out with the parachute, and then the creature does this kind of diagonal veering to avoid, and you see the underside and the texture is changing in that moment. I thought that was so incredible.
Yeah.
And that as I feel like it was a creative way of showing intelligence, right? As the humans are learning on what its weaknesses are, it too was also evolving and changed shape and all this stuff. And I wonder if it was also, as far as a creative process, right? The creature needed to evolve in order for that tense moment of, brother and sister deciding who's gonna be the distraction, and the creature's ability to effectively switch its eyes from OJ to Emerald and back and forth like that. And as the saucer, it wouldn't have worked. It needed to have evolved with this green square type of deal in order for the creature to be kind of going back and forth between the two. So I think it was justified plot-wise, and that I thought the design was quite beautiful and majestic, and it also ties into, like you said, I hadn't realized the connection of the balloon pops and all that, like just the creature being inflated in a balloon in itself. I think that further justifies the creature design in the third act.
Yeah. I it's things like that in movies that I don't give a shit about. That, like, things like that, like the UFO taking a different shape is never gonna fucking sway my opinion. Like, I do not I don't care. I mean, people like one person's point was that it's less intimidating. But seeing this thing in the air, regardless of its shape, it's not gonna scare the shit out of you if you see it in real life. You know what I mean? So that's never gonna like sway my opinion.
Right.
One point that someone
Yeah.
made was, if Jupe was doing this every night, where he was luring in this UFO for his audiences, and there was one scene where OJ could literally look over and see Jupe, the lights, kind of happening. Why would
Uh-huh.
he not had seen this before? Why was it such a surprise that it was happening if Jupe was doing this every night for his audiences? It's so easy for OJ to kind of just look over and notice like a UFO coming. So I kind of get it. I kind of get that, because you're so close to this park, and at
Mm-hmm.
nighttime it's easy for you to see this UFO coming.
I mean, I would say that within the film, Peele justifies that, right? So yes, he's close, but he's not. It's not like he can step out of the porch and see it. The horse had to escape, and then he had to pursue the horse some distance from his house to then see this thing going on and whatnot. And how often, how long has Jupe been doing this performance? Has it been weeks, months, years, or did he just start it?
That's true.
Could Kaluuya's character, could OJ have stumbled upon the very first performance? Like, I feel like people who have that critique, there's not enough information given in the film to justify that. And I think that's on purpose. But again, I think in the very least, it is pointing out that Peele is problem solving within the plot of the film, and he is at the very least making an effort to justify that. Yeah, he's not just walking out of the house and seeing this for the first time. He's having to journey further from the home to this field, to this pasture, to then see the show.
Right.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel you. Yeah. Yeah. OJ's character was kind of led to encounter this UFO because of Ghost
Yes.
running off,
Yes.
and his dad dying in the beginning, and the nickels and the keys falling from the sky, all the things that the object didn't want.
Yes.
Yeah, I also just loved Lucky, and I just Lucky not being able to look, or kind of like not wanting to look people in their eyes or anything in their eyes. Like, I don't know, there was something so sweet about that to me for some reason.
Yeah. And looking back, that is from scene one, pretty big foreshadowing, right? That is how OJ survives JJ, jean jacket, yeah. And it's addressed in the very first scene of "Don't look the horse in the eye" on set, and then of course it carries over.
Yeah,
So
I really love that. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I want to ask your overall rating out of 10 for Jordan Peele's Nope.
I'd have to say 10. If I could go higher, I would.
Oh my god. Like, that's so crazy to me. I've seen people give already like 7s. I saw one guy give an 8.5 out of 10. I saw one girl, a sister. She was a sister. She was like, "Yeah, Nope is a nope for me." And listen, I get it. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone's not gonna like it. Again, I'm an easy lay. I'm easy to impress. So man, listen, I'm with you. I absolutely give it a 10 out of 10. I was so impressed. I feel like it was just so beautifully. It was so visually appealing. As you said,
Yeah.
it wasn't the stereotypical jump scares. I fell in love with the characters. I just developing the characters and learning about them and learning about OJ and how he is more soft spoken, but you can still read him and relate with him, and Kiki, who she's like trying to find like a different life. She didn't want to be a part of the Haywood family thing anymore. That was like her side hustle, is what she said. I related
Right.
to her, and I love that she was loud, and I love that she was just like, fuck this. Like, I love that so much. Like, don't fucking try to silence black women anymore. Like, don't. Like, if you're loud, be fucking loud. Like, that's okay.
Yeah, I think, and now that you say that in particular, that scene in Jupe's office where Kaluuya is telling her like
Right.
not now, or like signaling her to be quiet.
Right.
I think is certainly speaking to that issue.
And it totally could be. And like her asking Jupe those questions led to a deeper conversation that OJ was also interested in. So
Yes.
to me, I hope that she gets some sort of buzz when the award season comes around, because she really stole my heart. Like, I feel like she was the MVP of this movie. I feel like everyone was incredible, but I really feel like she stood out, and this was her best role to date. I'm so fucking proud of her.
Yeah, she was quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
I also think, like, I don't know about the film overall. I guess time will tell, but I also wonder if she's snagged a position in the characters in horror films. I think she might be like in the top echelon.
Oh my God, I just got chills.
Yeah.
Like, because I've always loved horror movies, and like hearing you say that, I'm like, I can see that for her. Like, she is gonna be like a part of horror movie history. She is gonna be one of those characters that just stands out, and she earned that shit. Like, oh man, I'm so proud. Daniel Kaluuya, man, he's always gonna deliver. Like, this guy takes his craft seriously. I googled his age the other day, and I believe he's younger than us. He's like in his like 28, 29 maybe. But
man,
he's taking this so serious, and that means he was even younger when he filmed Get Out. So this guy is committed.
Right.
He's here to stay. He's an Oscar winner. I'm so proud. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Me too.
I was
Kev.
like, Brandon's going to talk some shit.
It was a thrill. It was a joy.
Oh man, 10 out of 10. Oh wow, thank you for tuning in. I hope you go see Nope. What am I talking about? I hope you go see Nope. Wow. Oh boy. I hope you do. Even if you don't enjoy it, I think it's great to just be able to have these conversations, your takes, your input. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you, and until next time. This has been Vibable. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts.